Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Shalom, I'm David Mensa, Israeli government spokesman. A quick update from me and then to your questions on this Monday, the 22nd of July, day 290 of the October 7th war. As you know, this morning, the Prime Minister set off on his diplomatic visit to the US, where he will address both houses of Congress on Wednesday. Look, this is an important visit for the Prime Minister representing all Israelis. He's honoured that he will address on behalf of the people of Israel Congress for a record fourth time, more than any other international leader before him. The stakes for Israel could not be higher. Israel is fighting a war against Iran's terror proxies on 7 fronts. We've all seen the political changes in Washington, and people have asked us, what is the purpose of this visit at this time and at this moment? We could not be clearer. The Prime Minister and our team seek to anchor the bipartisan support that is so important for Israel. The Prime Minister will tell Israel's friends on both sides of the aisle that regardless who the American people choose as their next president, Israel remains America's indispensable and strong ally in the Middle East. On the Prime Minister's meetings in the US, I can confirm that he is to meet President Biden. The President and the Prime Minister have known each other for over 40 years now. The Prime Minister will thank the President for everything he has done, not only for Israel during this war, but also during his long and distinguished career in public service as Senator, as Vice President, and as President. The meeting will also be an opportunity to discuss with the President how to advance in the critical months ahead our goals in this war, which are important for both countries. Of course, achieving the release of all of our hostages, defeating Hamas, confronting the terror axis of Iran and its proxies, and ensuring that all Israel citizens return safely to their homes in the north and in the south. You know, Israel's enemies always seek deadly opportunities in times of uncertainty. So this visit will reiterate to Israel's enemies and friends alike that the US, that America and Israel stand together today, tomorrow, and always. Now to sad news of IDF casualties, 683 since the start of this war. Sergeant First Class in the reserves, Ephraim Ben Amram, was 25 years old and from Yesod HaMa'ala. He died from his wounds after being seriously injured last month in a UAV attack at his base in the Golan Heights. There are no words of mine that can assuage the pain of his parents and the parents of other families. We embrace them and those dear families who have lost precious heroes, sons and daughters in this war for our very existence. This war has exacted a heavy cost on all of us, none more so than the families of our soldiers, and especially our fallen soldiers. There is still a way to go to victory. More days of fighting and difficulty await us. But as the Prime Minister said, I promise you, with unity, determination and faith in the justice of our cause, we will fight, and with God's help, we will win. May their memories be a blessing forever. On our hostages now, the IDF has confirmed this afternoon that it has informed the families of Alex Danzig and Yagev Yagev Buchstav, who were both brutally abducted into Gaza and are no longer alive. And their bodies are still being held by Hamas. I can tell you that the decision to determine their deaths was based on intelligence. It was approved by an expert committee of the Ministry of Health in cooperation with the Ministry of Religious Services and the Israel Police. This will come as a crushing blow to their families. There is a large group of families of hostages, as well as released hostages themselves, who are accompanying the Prime Minister to the US. They are there to make the case for their friends and family members and to stress that these hostages need to come home now. the living and the dead, so cruelly held by Hamas. So with this terribly sad announcement of today, of the 120 hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza, I want to update you on the latest numbers of those 120. 46 hostages are unfortunately no longer alive, still being held by Hamas. 100 are male hostages, 16 are female. 2 are children under the age of 5, 106 are Israelis, and 10 are foreign nationals, and 1 Israeli remains missing. Israel will do whatever it can to bring them home, women, men, children, the elderly, 9 months now. Now an update from COGAT in their work coordinating aid into Gaza over the last 24 hours. 236 humanitarian aid trucks went into Gaza today for the first time in weeks. United Nations humanitarian aid trucks arrived from Egypt and unloaded on the Gazan side of Kerem Shalom. This is thanks to UN aid organizations putting in collective effort to collect the aid waiting on the Gazan side of Kerem Shalom. But the contents of over 550 trucks are still awaiting collection. 7 tankers of fuel and 6 tankers of cooking gas, which serve the vital infrastructure in Gaza, also went in. That makes 829,000 tons of aid that have gone in since the start of this war, more than enough food for everyone in Gaza, and 80% more than went in before this war. So that's the end of our briefing today. I will now take your questions, which you should put in the chat of this Zoom, together with your news outlet. First question here is from Miss Vasdal from Norway 2 Television, TV2 Norway. Firstly, how does the Prime Minister react to Biden's decision to drop out of the presidential race, and what would be the result? What would be the best election for Israel? Thank you for that question, Ms. Vasdal. The Prime Minister and the President, and I think all the leaders and all the people here in Israel have expressed thanks to President Biden for his incredibly long career of public service, and of course for Israel, his friendship and dedication to the security and the safety and the ongoing security of Israel and its people. Just last week, President Biden was asked in an interview if he was a Zionist, and he made the comments loud and clear that yes, he is a Zionist, and a Zionist, as he defined it, is someone that believes that Israel is a homeland for the Jewish people, which should be able to live in peace and security with its neighbors. So the Prime Minister has been very clear about expressing his thanks, as has the President, as have, I think, all the leaders and almost all of the people in this country. Now, as for the best result of the election for Israel, the best result, of course, would be the democratic result. It's for America's people, for the US citizens themselves to choose who should be the leader of the United States of America, and whoever they choose, it's certainly not for Israel to choose, it's whoever the people of Israel choose will be a good outcome for Israel. The relationship, as I mentioned, as the Prime Minister said this morning as he boarded the plane on the way to the US, the relationship between the US and Israel is a bipartisan relationship, and that has been the way it has been since this country was established. It's incredibly important that there is bipartisan support for this country, and that is one of the reasons why the Prime Minister is making his visit today. Next question you ask, Ms. Vidal from TV2 Norway. What can you tell me about the Canadian national who was neutralized after attempted stabbing in Netiv HaZara? Is Israel afraid of more attempted terrorist attacks, or worse, completed ones from foreign nationals? Thank you for that question, Ms. Vidal. The IDF today released details of that attack. You're right, this was a foreign national. For more details, you should go to the IDF on their website or on their Telegram feed for details of that attack. We have, in terms of the other part of your question, we have in the past been faced in this country with foreign jihadis, foreign Jew haters, foreign Islamic fundamentalists, and also foreign terrorists that have sought to harm Israelis. The Prime Minister's message is extremely clear, extremely clear. Whoever seeks to harm us, they will be harmed. Next question is from Joel Pollack. Will Prime Minister Netanyahu meet with former President Donald Trump? Thank you for that question, Joel. I haven't got any update on that right now, but as and when those updates come through, we will be sure to share them with you. Secondly, will Prime Minister Netanyahu meet with Vice President Kamala Harris? Thank you. Same answer, actually. I haven't got any update on that. We will be sure to update you when we have more information on that. Thirdly, Prime Minister Netanyahu's office just released a photo of him reviewing his speech on his flight next to a cap that says "Total Victory." Can you explain that message and its connection to the speech? Thank you for that question, Joel. The motto that this country has lived by for the last 9 months since the attack on October 7th is that we do want total victory and that we need to work together to achieve that total victory. It's incredibly important. Our enemies know, indeed, this message was given by some of the Hamas hostage takers to our hostages, and our hostages on their return said this to us. They said, when Israel is united, when the people of Israel are united, they are untouchable. No Hamas terrorism can reach them. But when there is division in this country, that is when the problems, and that is when our enemies look for opportunities to attack us. So yes, of course, we are working towards complete victory against this terrorist threat. One point which is not often understood abroad, I feel, is that this is an existential threat to Israel, and that's a word which is not often understood, I think, outside political circles. Existential means that it is a threat against the very existence of this country. All of us here in Israel, from the Prime Minister to the President to everyone else, understand that this is a battle to defend the existence of this country, which is why the people of Israel have united so around the concept of defending this country, our people, in whatever way, whether through volunteering for the army or turning up for reserve duty or serving even in the most complicated and difficult and harsh circumstances in the terror dungeons of Hamas's terror tunnel network, have put themselves in harm's way, have put themselves out, have made food for soldiers, have done anything possible to reinforce the united effort this country is undergoing to defend itself. And this country will be defended because all of us here understand that these Iranian-backed terrorists seek to annihilate this country. They say it very clearly. And history has taught one thing to the Jewish people, that when an enemy says that they wish to wipe out the Jewish people, as they say they wish to wipe out the existence of Israel from the face of the map, we believe them. We believe them. And that's the battle we're fighting. So yes, of course, it's total victory. Next question from Jim Williams at Zenga. Do you have any news on a separate meeting with Vice President Harris that Jake Sherman told the press here in DC was being set up? Thank you very much for that question, Jim. I haven't got any information about that, and we will update you as soon as we know more. A question from Patrick Kingsley at the New York Times. Will the president's decision to step down change the way that Prime Minister Netanyahu approaches the war in Gaza? Thank you very much for that question, Patrick. I think the short answer is no. Our objectives are very clear in terms of the war with Gaza. The Prime Minister was in Rafah just on Thursday, and he made very, very clear that he made very, very clear that more than ever, we're in the midst of an enormous campaign for our very existence. On the one side is the fanatical Iranian regime, which threatens to destroy us as just another step towards taking over the entire Middle East, and from where it will be able to threaten the entire world. And on the other side is us, the democratic and free state of Israel, that is determined to defend its home. So the decision of President Biden, and I say again that the people of Israel, from top to bottom, have thanked the president for his incredible friendship over so many years. The president talks about his meeting with Golda Meir, former prime minister of this country, which had such a tremendous impact on his understanding of the threat that we face in Israel. The Prime Minister Golda Meir said back in the 60s, we have no other place to go. There is only one homeland for the Jewish people. President Biden understands that, and whoever takes his place, and we wish President Biden well, of course, whoever and the president will run his full term in office, but whoever wins the next presidential election in the US will understand this, does understand this fact as well. We've got no intention of losing this confrontation. We're going to continue to rebuff the efforts to harm us by Iran and its proxies. Will continue to strike with uncompromising force those who rise up to try and destroy us, and we will settle accounts with all of those who are trying out this terrorist assault down to the last of them. And we're going to bring down this terrorist regime of evil. We're going to thwart every future threat to the state of Israel from Gaza, and we will return home all of our hostages. None of that changes. So I think that's the last question we have here. Good. So if that's the case, thank you very much for joining us today. We'll have another briefing tomorrow. In the meantime, do please stay safe, and thank you for joining us. Bye-bye now.